You doing? How you doing? Same to you. Good to see you. I'm coming back. I had to take the summer off. I was a little worn out. Actually had to go work a little bit. So now we're back into the school season, and the kids are actually out of the house, and so they get back in school, so I can get out in the morning easier. Well, it's October 9th. Mm, I understand. I can just about guarantee I'll be there.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming and supporting the developers for the garden and also Pasta Masters. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to introduce our amazing guest. The first one I want to introduce is Yang. Actually, Yang, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name. There you go. She's going to be talking to you about Pasta Masters, the restaurant going next door. And then Gabe is going to be next, and he's going to talk about the garden, aka Larry's Garage. So I'm going to turn it over to Yang first. Thank you. Oh, and then Ty, where's Ty? Ty's in the back of the room. He has the wireless mic. If you want to ask a question, he'll come. Just raise your hand. He'll come get you. Okay.
Got it. I can do that.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Jenny Sanders. I'm with Amanda Development Company. I'm here also with our architect, Lee, here. So, and also, okay. And we're going to give you guys the two projects we are working on, some updates. One is the Pastor Masters, which is next door. So there's some two delayed for the Pastor Master. One is from the Jackson County Health Department. They are very, very, very particular because this is a fresh made pasta every day. Yeah, so they're very particular, but they finally signed off for the approval for our, permits for the health department. Yeah, that's one, thing we achieved it. And the second one, because this costs so much money, and we are working with our bank, so we finalized the loan. So probably next month we're gonna get everything done. And our estimate, and the same time when the loan is done, the first thing we have to order all the equipment. So that takes lots of time, long time for all the equipment to order. Then we estimate we're gonna start all the construction in November, and the estimate grand opening in like February. Of course, we're gonna invite all the people for the you know uh, opening, try opening, to see all our restaurant and food, and the restaurant is just, I can tell you some basic. When you walk in on the right side will be the retail shop, which is the everyday fresh made pasta and the sauce. Yes, in container from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock is retail. We don't do lunch, and the dinner will be from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So Saturday and Sunday, the timing will be earlier for the dinner. So the dinner we gonna start like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Yeah, so everybody if you want to do the early dinner, and also in the same time, the retail shop we're gonna have some like olive oil, all different kind of special items, so you can purchase. We also get takeout order, and the same time we gonna develop our website. You can order online and just come here pick it up. So it will be easier, faster for you guys. And the dinner time is we're gonna have a full bar, wine and beer. And right now we're not decided yet. Gonna be the full bar for whole full liquor, but definitely gonna have wine and beer. And the kitchen is open kitchen. You can see through from the windows how they make pastas and how they cook pastas. So that's very unique, And also the same time, um, the evening time, also if we have a couple more, customers, the Zippo back from the cafe over there. Also a sitting area. In the um, room sitting, it's about 55 to 60 sittings. It's pretty good. But we hope we can have more customer. We can handle that will be great. Yes, exactly. Definitely, we're gonna do our best. The owner Matt Rupo, he was the co-founder who found the Cotton Cap Kitchen. Yes, and so right now he already fully existing from that company because we have so many projects. He doesn't have time to manage in that one. So this one we're gonna be full-handed, to managing everything. So this is just our, space designer, give us some ideas, for that. I don't, I didn't put that much, photos because we don't have the, exactly the rendering all the stuff. But I can, is there any questions you guys have? So yeah, fire up.
And it will be just pastas. You're not going to expand this to veal or pizza. We need a good pizza maker.
The health department, they are very particular. You know, even they prove our permits, we have to submit our menu. They get proof. Anything on the menu, they have to prove again. So everything we have the menu, we only can make from that. Any updates, any changes we need to submit to them, then they prove. So we like to, extend our menu, to all different stuff, but they're very particular. But also we want to be, very niche on just fresh made pastas. So it's total different kind of environment, very friendly, family, you can go there, we have all different kind of size of table, we can host little party, birthday party and also day-to-day dining, and the menu, we have a very good chef. He already set up all the menu because every menu we have to very detailed with all the recipe, everything in the menu to submit to the Jackson County Health Department, which we got approved for that. Good question?
The daily schedule.
Oh, oh, you mean the open hour? Okay, Monday to Friday will be 10 to 10 o'clock, which 10 to 5 will be the retail shop. and the takeout, and the 5 to 10 is dining in. And Saturday and Sunday will be same thing 10 to 10, but the dining hour will be earlier. It's like 4 to 10. Yeah.
Is the room about the size of this room?
Uh, yes. No,
No.
not that wide. It's total square footage. That one is almost 2,400 square foot. The room next door. It's smaller than this one because this one is more wider. Yeah. Yes.
Where will the bar be? Not that I'm that anxious, but is it good?
That's a great question. So when you go in on the right hand side will be the retail store. After the retail store will be the bar. And also in front of the kitchen, there's another bar area for servings too. You can eat over there, that counter. Yeah. Any other questions?
I love all the concepts in Brazelton and all the outdoor seating, but you're probably limited here. Have y'all looked at that at all? Any possibility of any outdoor seating?
Yes, the outdoor seating, that little alley
Uh-huh.
between this building and the coffee shop.
Okay.
Over there, we have some designing. We're gonna have some lighting and also some skinny table because the bar, we're gonna have the window
Okay.
behind the bar.
Okay.
Probably the design from our space design, that window can be like rolling up. We can serve the drink even outside. Then also the Zippo over there, people can sit over there too because at nighttime the coffee shop they're not serving that much coffee, so the overflow of the customer they can sit outside. Of
Okay.
course, like wintertime we're gonna have the heater going up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. When you think of all the restaurants in Brazelton, you can eat outside in just about every one of them, and so that's
Yes,
cool.
we do look at that too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good. No, no. If you don't have any questions, I can introduce our architect, Gabe. He gonna be talking about the garden. You're welcome.
Okay, sit down and unless you guys can't hear me, and I'm gonna roll through this to bring everybody up to speed on what we're doing. My name's Gabe Comstock. I'm the architect working with Matt on lots of projects, but specifically the what we're calling the garden. It's 29 West Broad Street. It's right next to us. I think everybody's probably familiar with it. Um, I've been working with Matt for over 8 years, actually. I've worked with Matt on about a dozen different projects, and we're mostly working in Brazelton, but we've also done a little bit of work in Houston, including the project we're talking about tonight, the library, the grist mill, Houston Exchange, which looks like it's not going to happen, unfortunately, but was a cool project, and then, of course, the brew pub that I'm sure everybody knows, because it sounds like we have some drinkers in the house. We're also doing we've done a whole bunch of concepts for things that haven't been built yet or are in the process of being built. Some townhomes, mixed-use development, another multifamily mixed-use development that is going through many, many iterations, and hopefully eventually a boutique hotel that's next to the brew pub. And of course, I'm going to show you some of these project examples, including the brew pub, because they all relate to what we're trying to do next door. Our firm does a lot of, it's probably a terrible business model because we do a ton of variety and we do complicated things that a lot of other people don't want to do, including working on old buildings that people think need to be thrown away that we think are very valuable and offer great pieces of architecture when you breathe new life into them. But some of the challenges when you work on old buildings like the brew pub is that you're changing the use. You're going from what it was, which is usually like a utility-oriented occupancy. Like in this case, it was cotton, and over here it was a body shop and a mechanic shop. But when you bring restaurants and bars into these spaces, you're turning them into assembly occupancies. And if any of you guys are in construction, you know what I'm talking about. So you have to bring them up to code. So one of the big challenges on this project, and we'll have over there, was how we integrated all the structural components into the building and still made it feel like it always was there, in my opinion. And that's just another shot that you guys have all seen. This is not as exciting, but this is our own office space. This is, we're located in Athens above Normal Hardware, and this is sounding like I'm doing a marketing thing here, but that's not the intent. But it's very similar to what we're dealing with next door as far as the discovery of the trusses in the gables space. So the main volume that runs parallel to Broad Street has a bigger version of this, and these same type of old heart pine trusses, but much larger. And the images on the left side of the screen are just the progression of, on the top is what it looked like when we first went up there, which is a glorified attic to the hardware store that the bats had taken over. And unfortunately, we couldn't salvage all the tongue and groove ceiling, but when I poked my head up through the little hole that you see way over here, I was like, wow, there's some cool trusses up there. So anyway, we had to insulate the roof line anyway. It wasn't a tax credit project, so we had a little bit more freedom. And we were able to vault the space and insulate it and then showcase those cool trusses. And apparently there's bats over here that Matt is kind enough to relocate, which is the right thing to do. So I don't know if there's any more to it than that, but that's going on right now. So, okay. Another project in Athens that, you know, this is really about you taking a really tired old building and really all we're doing is undoing all the dumb stuff that happened over the years, like taking the boards off the windows. But a big piece to what we'll be doing over here is figuring out how to provide code compliant egress, ADA access, ramps, stairs, and how you integrate that in a thoughtful way so it doesn't take away from the historic resource. And this was the old cafetorium to that school that noticed the nice mural, Nuke the Wells, or Nuke the Kids, Save the Wells. It's now been converted into a gym, which is pretty cool. But it's, you know, these spaces are great. People love them. This is another project in Madison that we did, which is, if anybody here knows any history about the building, please get with me afterwards. But what we're told is that it originally was a livery stable, and that's one of the reasons why I showed this. We've worked on a couple of these projects. And anyway, this was a livery stable. We converted it into Amicis, sort of their headquarters. It had their teaching kitchen and all their headquarter offices in it. I think they've outgrown it at this point. Again, just another shot of what that looks like. I could do a whole presentation on just one of these projects. This is another livery project in Monroe that we helped the client convert into an event space, and with a tasting room for Southern Brewery next door, which is a nice pairing. This project also leveraged all the roof area and maxed it out with photovoltaics, which we're talking about with Matt. There's some potential grants and some other opportunities that might help the project if we load it up with solar panels. Again, there's a lot of other things to think about, like structural impacts. But this, in this case, this project, the middle of the building caved in. So instead of putting that space back, we turned it into an outdoor patio space with garage doors and stuff that open up onto the patio. So it works out pretty well for them. That's just another interior shot of the space after it was rehabbed. And then sort of getting into, we've done dozens, hundreds of these types of projects. And Matt and I have worked on a couple of them together. And, typically the buildings are neglected and there's a lot of bad renovations. And once you undo all that and freshen it up, that's kind of all it needs. Even though some of the concepts I'll show you today might be a little more aggressive than that. That may be where we need to land because of budget reasons, but having good partnerships with local municipalities, the design team, us, and most importantly, having a client like Matt to make it all work, it pays off. And I hope we can pull this off for you guys. Most of these projects have won a bunch of awards. They've become catalysts for improvements wherever they've been located, and they're considered iconic places that people want to go visit, and the communities are proud of them. So Matt's already done a ton of due diligence with our help. We've done the survey, we've done the environmental testing. Shockingly, it was not hot, so there's no soil issues. Structural assessment, there's lots of issues. Because of that, we're doing some selective demo. Some of the bigger issues structurally and architecturally is the brick. It's in rough shape. Those bricks, just in case everybody doesn't know, aren't supposed to be on the roof. And all that grass and stuff, that's not a green roof intentionally. So anyway, there's probably hundreds of places in the building that have some serious brick problems. Depending on budget and where this goes will depend on how much of that we actually can repair, but we'll do the best we can. Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me that, and to be honest with you, I don't know. It's got to be early 1900s, like 1910, something like that. Yeah, that's what it looks like based on the type of lumber that's in it. It's still not modern framing that we do today, except for the rear of the building, which is the upper right-hand corner. It's got some prefabricated trusses. But we've already done some selective demo because we've done the structural assessment. Our structural engineers this floor is a trampoline. The floors can't be kept. And then the ceiling's got a bunch of issues because there's tons of deflection. And actually, it's hard to see in this image, but some of these trusses that I'm talking about are up in this ceiling. So design process. So now I'm going to get into what showed you a bunch of our work. Now I'm going to show you the project you're here to see. Understanding that old buildings are unique and with its own identity and its own distinctive character. So that's the first thing we look at. Like all projects, we start by looking at those character-defining features that will influence the design. Some of those, for me, is obviously the arched openings. Once you strip back all the ugly stuff and put, literally just express those arches, that would be really cool as an entrance. The structural repairs that we've already talked about. And then, of course, we've got to make the building code compliant. It's got to be safe. It's got to be ADA compliant. We've got to follow all the rules. If you don't want to follow the rules, don't hire an architect. I tell people that all the time. They're like, "Oh, can't we just?" It's like, not if I'm involved. One of the early sketches that we did was just a test it. Like, what can we do if we're going to turn this into retail suites? A unit A, they're all labeled as unit A through G or L, but unit A would be like an anchor restaurant space, and the rest of the units could be a mix of clothing shops or what. Anyway, that was the first study. I think it's important to note that this is Broad Street to get everybody oriented at the bottom, and Highway 53 on the left side of this view. I'm going to screw everybody up because I'm going to flip it 180 degrees in a few slides. My apologies. But at this dashed line right here, really right down the middle of the building, this building I think was built of one, two, three, at least 4 different buildings or additions. But at this dashed line, there's about a 4-foot plus drop in the building. So that's going to be a big driver in what we do, whether we treat the front half and the back half independently for entrances and egress and all that, or do we try to figure out how to get ramps and stairs and all that stuff to make it all connect? But that's something that we've looked at in the concept. Getting deeper into the design, Matt really was like, I want to minimize the amount of redo we've got to do. Can we look at opening up the middle of the building, which I thought was a cool idea. But this was a pretty aggressive approach. You can see in the elevation the arches are gone. Don't worry, I'll bring them back in a minute. But it's also incorporating what we're calling a ghost kitchen, the orange box, which is a kitchen that could potentially be used for the restaurant, could be used for an event center, could be used for the patio. It's really just a term, but it's a kitchen that supports many functions so that you don't have to have 3 separate kitchens. And then I brought another client into the mix, and we've been doing these shipping container concepts where you bring basically a brewery, a small fermentation brewery into the shipping containers, and that's what you're seeing in the back. And this is just a diagram. So jumping ahead 6 months or 9 months, Matt had us go ahead and do what we call schematic design, and that's really where we start figuring out, and this is probably a step further. What the next series of slides are the proposed building elevations, and above that is a photographic elevation. It's called photogrammetry. It's a to-scale photograph. We use those to generate a model. We use it as an underlay to make a 3D model. And then from that model, we can make orthographic views. But anyway, these elevations represent where we are right now. That being said, we're having conversations on how these are already going to change based on budget realities. And if anybody is trying to build anything these days, that's a real factor. And I tell clients all the time, however expensive you think it is, it's probably more expensive, and it's kind of hard to get a handle on right now, unfortunately. So we got to be careful. So some of the stuff that I'm showing you is probably going to have to get scaled back. This is the end of the building where in this long piece right here, this was their paint booth to the body shop for a while. This is the part of the project that we're considering the anchor restaurant. In this scheme, I was looking at a lower patio, an upper patio, an indoor-outdoor bar with garage doors that open up onto a bar. So you get that indoor-outdoor connectivity. You can have cold beverages outside and a meal, and maybe let your kids run around with unattended. Anyway, these are just all the elevations. This is the rear elevation, that lower side. You can see this is kind of a messy drawing, but you can see there's some some solar panels on the roof. And then this is the Highway 53 elevation. One of the challenges that I see with that elevation is it's a really busy highway. And so in this proposal, I'm actually pushing the facade back about 8 or 10 feet. So that those arched openings become a colonnade. So it almost acts like a porch to the street to provide a little bit of a buffer. In this case, this is that gable form that I'm talking about that has the trusses. And that potentially is a good space, like event space, a multi-purpose space. And then flipping it 180 degrees, my apologies. So Broad Street's at the top now. So downtown, where we are right now, is just north of this drawing. So what this is showing is an open plaza. It keeps the arches. That opens it up so that you create an axis that sort of pulls downtown into the space and creates an outdoor green space amenity for town, right? It's not just for this building, it's for everybody. And then, you know, there's a lot of ideas. That's what we do. We're throwing ideas out. There's a covered, what I feel like it's like a market type space, a multi-purpose space with leveraging the containers. These smaller gray boxes are the containers with walk-up service for beer or other things. And then again, the wedge-shaped building that's on the end is still the anchor restaurant space. There currently is a mezzanine in that space, but you wouldn't want to put a bunch of humans on it, so that would get removed. And that becomes a second level that has the opportunity to have another bar, another dining area, another outdoor patio that currently overlooks the parking pad that's in place out there. And then so taking it a step further, we took the model and we made renderings. So this is the current on the top and the proposed. This is like the dream, right? We fix the brick, we strip the paint off the brick, which is terrible for brick. Don't paint brick, or at least with normal paint. And then repoint repair the brick basically. But then you can see that archway, keep the historic arches, open